On today's episode of First Cup, we're talking about today's martial arts radio episode and something that I'm still learning about that process. We're going to talk about some quotes from Lennox Lewis and chess and just see where the rest of it takes us. Stick around, we'll roll in 12 seconds. And then we're going to sleep into that. 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Today is Thursday, it is September 2nd. I don't know why I had to check any of that. 2021. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. I slept really well. I did. I laid down. I went to sleep. I woke up. Well, my alarm went off. It was great. Good morning, Denise. I hope whatever is happening as a result of the loss in your family is going at least smoothly. Let's turn off this banner that's in front of my face. And there we go. I think I wore this sweater earlier this week. I really like it. It's cozy. It's made. It's alpaca. It's cozy. I like it. It's got a hood. I like wearing a hood. But not right now. No need to wear a hood right now. I wore a hood in the TikTok video I did yesterday. We should probably make a line of martial arts uniforms that have a hood. Maybe not like an external hood, but like a built-in kind of like underneath hood, like a secret hood. Maybe even detachable. Good morning, Jenny and Daniel and Stacy and Slider. Wow, look at all these people rolling in. Hope everybody's doing well. Slider said he was just watching the martial arts versus martial science episode. Yeah, that's out today. So that let's jump into it. Jenny says I would wear that. It's in all caps. Look. I like hoods. I've always liked hoods. I like the idea of hats, but they never fit me well. And here's why. I have a very round head. And the space between the top of my ears and the top of my head, it's not that tall. I actually need like fat kid hats. And I don't mean, but like fat-headed kids. Like if a hat fits them, that's the hat that I need. Even in high school, I was generally wearing kids' hats on like the largest size because a regular hat wouldn't fit me. I've got whistlekick hats and they barely fit. I actually just ordered another one yesterday, a red one this time, and another shirt because I figured, you know what? We're starting to do a little bit more with apparel. We're starting to care a little more. And what better way to show you what's going on than to wear it on this show? So that's what we're going to do. And most of my shirts are old. I think you ever go into your closet and you're like, oh, I like these jeans. These are my new jeans. And you're like, these jeans are 4 years old. If your new jeans are 4 years old, how old are your old jeans? Well, let's see. My old jeans are 8 years old. I don't think I have anything older than that. Daniel, I spit my coffee. Hats made from fat kids? That's a niche market. Oh. Slider says you need what we call a dad hat. I know what dad hats are. I don't like dad hats. They just, ugh. They don't look right on me. And they usually have that fabric adjustment in the back, which I think is ridiculous. Denise has Jenkos from 1995. How long did I nurse my Jenkos that I got in like 1995? I had them through college. I just never wore them. Yeah. I had to hem them. The only pair that they had at JCPenney that fit my waist, I think we had to hem like 8 inches off. They were so long. It was crazy. Dennis says, every hat I wear looks like a dunce cap on me. Appropriate, actually. Oh, come on, man. Slider has the same hat problem. Well, let's talk about today's episode because I'm proud of today's episode of Martial Arts Radio. When I get pushback from people about on the general subject of martial arts and it needing to be effective. Most people go to the argument, well, it's martial arts. It should be about fighting. And if it's not about fighting, it's not martial arts. And you've probably seen the quote circulate that I put out years ago. We've got some graphics with different things behind it that we share periodically. And one of them is me standing there looking all imposing. And actually, Facebook was like, is this you in this picture? Somebody I've never even heard of shared it. Who knows where. Anyway. And the line goes, if you look at the breakdown of the term martial arts, the noun is art. Martial is an adjective. It is a modifier. It modifies the term arts. At the end of the day, what we do is art. It is artistic. It is creative expression. And lately I was thinking, are we getting into a semantic debate on something that is arising from us trying to stuff too much into one term? And I think maybe we are. So that's why I said, what about the term martial science? Because what is science? Science is meant to be experimental and repeatable and boiled down to what makes the most sense, etc. Occam's razor, right? And so Andrew and I, in today's episode, we unpack that. Now, one of the things that I did very wrong is I had the mic in a new place and I was too close and the mic was too hot. And at times my audio kind of sucks. I'm really aware of it. I'm sorry. And we've already made adjustments. I am being much more conscious of how I lay my mic out now and even doing some testing before we go live on episodes. So I want to apologize to all of you. And that's kind of the white belt part. And I see a lot of comments coming through in here, and I'm going to respond to them shortly. You would think 6 years in, I would know what I'm doing. And I do. But we change things. The things that I'm doing now aren't exactly the same as they were 6 years ago. 6 years ago, I had a headset. It was impossible for me to move my face closer or further from it. Those episodes are okay. When I get the distance right, the audio on these episodes is far better. So let me roll back because there are a bunch of you in the chat now and lots of comments. Slider says, so Jenkos will fetch money on eBay. I got rid of mine. Jared from Martial Thoughts Podcast. I'm proud of this episode. Are there episodes you're not proud of without naming episode names? There are episodes that I think are that I'm less proud of. I am proud of everything that we do. But just like, I don't have kids, but I've heard parents talk about their kids. I'm proud of all my kids. But the unspoken is I'm a little more proud of some of them than others. And I think that's probably the best way to describe it. Some of the episodes we do don't come out great. The concept works, but the implementation, right? You have an idea and the idea doesn't always pan out. I've done plenty of things that I was proud of that didn't work out. I've done plenty of things that I'm proud of the idea, but for whatever reason, we didn't knock it out of the park. That's okay. Daniel says, I need to find a hat that works for archery. I have the same issues. They all look daft. I'm considering rocking a flat cap, a very Yorkshire look. And Stacy's honing in on it here. It's not about fighting. In many ways, it's about how not to fight. Yeah. It's when people ask me, like, well, what can you teach that's really special? I can teach you how to never get in a fight. That's my skill set. How to be so confident in who you are, how to not let other people's egos tear you down, how to defuse things that are about to turn into a fight. And if it does become a fight, how to extract yourself quickly and without causing or receiving much damage. Those are subjects we need to talk about more in self-defense. The only way you win a fight is if it doesn't happen. Slider says, what's funny is the characters Budo that we define martial arts, the two characters actually translate to stop violence. I have not heard that before. Interesting. Daniel says, there is one I suggested the guest for that I felt the need to apologize for the suggestion afterwards. I don't know who you're referencing, but I would love for you to email me and see, or message me, see if we agree. Dennis says, my oldest son rocks flat caps very well. Lucky kid. I'm hit or miss with them. I have one in my closet, and I like it, and it's one of the ones that fits. But it doesn't fit. It doesn't go with everything. Like it's, it's kind of this brown tweed pattern. Like I wouldn't wear it with this. That would look ridiculous. Look like I was walking around as a fabric sample demonstrator. Karate Without Belt says, literally translate to stop the spear. Sorry for being the language nerd. No, I appreciate the language nerd. Now, what I will say about anything that comes out of translation is that oftentimes there aren't direct correlations, that the context matters. Here's kind of I won't call it a fun story, an interesting story. I graduated college with a double major. One of them was philosophy, and went on to do a bunch of IT and ended up doing a little bit of work for someone who was a retired philosophy professor. And he had done a bunch of work and done a bunch of writing. And in his, I think he was in his late 70s at the time, through a bunch of continued research, he discovered that there was a slightly different interpretation of a certain Greek word that he felt context-wise completely changed the work of a number of prominent philosophers. And he was trying to go back and update all of his work and reach out and try to get everybody to see this. Now, I reached out to somebody that I had known, my advisor from school, and said, what's going on here? And he said, yeah, he's not the first person to have this kind of epiphany. And anyway, what happened really didn't matter. But that sat with me, and it stayed with me. And it's helped me to understand that when you go to translate a word and you see that there are like 19 different words in English that work, it should be a sign that that word has a slightly different meaning than any of them. It somehow means all of them, and to a certain degree, none of them. It's a concept. The word for boo and do way back in the day in Japanese, if those words originated today, would mean something different than they did then. And so sometimes we're trying to shoehorn things in to a society where those words don't quite apply. And this is why I think getting too wrapped around the axle on definitions and language when it comes to anything is often, not even usually, but often, missing the point. So there you go. What happened yesterday? My car is out on rental. I don't think I mentioned that. My car's been out on rental since Saturday. So I'm restricted to the motorcycle, and was all loaded up to go to karate. And I went outside, and it was like, it was going to rain. And I was like, oh. And then I looked at the weather for where I was going. I was like, oh, it's raining now and will continue to rain. I was like, I'm not, I'll skip it. I'm probably not going to be renting my car out again next year. We'll see. Probably not, because it's been inconvenient. Much of the time I've been fine, but Jared saying the same thing. Sometimes the etymology of a word is irrelevant to its common meaning today. I agree. I'm going to ask all of you watching live, throw me a thumbs up, a heart, a like, a whatever. It helps let other people know about the show. As we grow, what we do grows. You benefit. Help us grow. There's a heart. Thank you. What's going on today? I'll go to the gym later, client meeting. The logos are done for the whistlekick program. So there's a whole bunch of stuff I got to do on the website and everything to fix that. I may or may not do that yet. We have a logo for the books, for whistlekick books. It's really cool. Shout out to Jenny. Thanks for your help. And what else is going on? I don't know. I'm gonna work. Nothing special. I'll probably cut my hair and shave later. Stacey says there is a language that has multiple words for snow. English can be so limiting at times. I think that's the Inuit language. Or Eskimo? Eskimo. I think it's the Eskimo. It's one of the two. They have like 30 something. Yeah, Daniel says Inuit has dozens. Because there's a difference between the snow that's falling from the sky and the snow that's on the ground, and hard snow and soft snow, and who knows what other ways they differentiate snow. Snow. It won't be long before we have snow here. I know that seems blasphemous because it's still summer technically, but it's September 2nd. It was 52 degrees when I woke up. We're getting there. It's going to be time for harvesting more soon. Anybody who wants apples, there's still some. Come get them. Let's turn to the quotes. More and more of you should have been invited or at least found the First Cup Facebook page yesterday. It's still there. And I think what we're going to start doing is I think I'm going to use that as the centralizing point for comments and questions that you want brought up on the show. Frank will keep writing to me because that works. We're going to do that. Frank, I think we're due for a call, bud. But for the rest of you, I think it's a good place to centralize it. You can always still email me. That's fine. I mean, pretty much any way you get the information to me is cool. But what I'm trying to avoid is going back out and looking and pulling all the questions and comments because we have too many places now. It's getting tough. Oh, Susanna's on the show now. Good morning, Suze. On this day in 1965, world heavyweight boxing champion Lennox Lewis was born. I play chess about 4 hours a day in training camp. You have to decide what move to use or what combination of moves. I think less when I box because the reaction time is a lot quicker, but some people call me the chess boxer because they say I think too much in the ring. I take my time and they don't see the action they want. Some boxers just go in there and just throw punches and hope to win. Well, I think having a strategy that wins, and Lennox Lewis certainly won plenty of fights, I don't think you can argue with success. I think when you look at any kind of combative, there are a number of attributes that are important, and one of them is I don't quite want to call it reaction time because it's not generally mental. It's kind of automatic. It's conditioned response. But the speed with which someone is able to react and how quickly in those moments, so they have a flurry and they back up and they process what just happened. What adjustment do I need to make? What's the coach yelling in the corner, et cetera? The ability for someone to process that information quickly in real time during a fight is going to dramatically change who they are and how they fight. Now, I'm not quite that cerebral when I spar. I have a handful of things that I do. They usually work. And most of the rest of the time, I'm just kind of doing whatever happens naturally. But if we break, take a step back, Oh, I don't want to do that again. That's not working. Or this is working. Let's do some more of that. There's a little bit of that response going on. But much of the time, I'm not choosing, oh, this is open. I'm going to throw this technique because I don't have that kind of time. If I'm sparring somebody of lower rank, yeah, I'll slow it down. And sometimes I'll take that opportunity to practice picking my targets in a conscious way. Jared says samurai strategy calls that reacting with the opponent compared to reacting to the opponent. That makes sense. When we think about reaction, it's all reaction. Everything we do in any kind of combative instance is reaction. And I think that when you look at it that way, I think it frames the situation better. When my opponent does this, I do this. Well, why is your opponent doing that? Because of what you did. And when you recognize that it is a continued chain that rarely breaks, it gives you much more power. The way you stand, the way you look, your feet, all of those things will, even sometimes at a slight level, but if you're trained to look forward at a much greater level, affect how your opponent stands and what they do. Some of the best fighters I know will, I don't know if play with their opponent is the right word, but will present themselves to their opponent or their partner in such a way that they've got a pretty good idea what they're going to throw. And it wasn't until somebody broke this down for me. It was Freddie LePan episode, what was he, 13. He broke this down for me, and it completely changed everything for me. It was mind-blowing. I wish I'd learned this when I was younger. If a tactic doesn't work the first time, it's okay to try it again. If it fails the second time, do not rush to try it a third. Slider's writing that in, but from Musashi. It makes sense. And we see that concept illustrated in a variety of ways. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, or fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, right? Kind of the same idea. If we keep going back to the same well, getting sick, throwing the same techniques, getting punched in the face, maybe it's time to do something different. Yeah. You guys are pretty active in the chat this morning. I like it. I found that taking shortcuts will get you to the place you don't want to be much quicker than they get you to the place you want to be. I've said this before. So many people spend so much time looking for shortcuts to success because they look at that one person who was able to do that thing. Here's a great example right now, cryptocurrency investing. How many people are dumping money into cryptocurrency and hoping that they're going to make a bunch of money? Now, the majority of my portfolio gains in the last year have been crypto, but it doesn't mean that my entire portfolio is crypto, because there's a tried and true method too, and it's called investing in companies that aren't stupid, and it's called building my income, and it's called diversifying in a whole bunch of ways, right? The places that we want to go take work. People look for the shortcuts to being the best whatever, the toughest whatever, the highest ranked whatever. They're missing the point. Most of the time, the journey is what's important. There's a reason that I don't think I will ever step back into a martial arts school wearing a black belt again, because I miss the journey. There's a journey. You put that white belt on. There's a journey that starts there. If you start halfway up the path, you ever play a video game somebody's playing and they say, hey, you want to play? And they hand you the controller and you have no idea what's going on? That's starting halfway up the path. I didn't get to play the first levels that help me understand what buttons do what and when I want to do certain things. And you've thrown me in the middle and I'm not doing so well. There's a whole discussion about hats going on, and I'm gonna let you guys have that one. I'm probably not gonna wear hats on the show. Maybe I'll wear the red hat when it comes in. It's a red stretchy hat, flex fit hat. Those, the small medium, barely fits me, just barely. It's a little tall, but it barely fits. And I'm honestly not even sure what my black one is right now. I have a black one. It's a few years old. It's okay. Last quote. And then I'm going to send you on your way. Oh. Daniel just Facebooked me the name of the episode. I didn't think that was a bad one at all. Adversity is something that makes reaching your goal so much more rewarding than if it didn't exist. Let me say that a different way. Nothing worth having is easy. Show me something that is easy to attain and hold on to, that is of real value. And this is where people come up, oh, but Jeremy, a flower on the side of the road is really beautiful. Okay, sure. How long is that flower going to last? Right? There's a correlation between the effort and the duration. Time, I said, get and keep. Right? If you want to have a rewarding career, that takes a lot of effort. A rewarding romantic relationship, personal friendship, a big, beautiful home. If that's something that is of value to you, it takes a lot of time and money to maintain that home. Your health, it's true for everything. Jared says, black belt is a journey too, just a different journey. I see it as part of the same journey. To me, it's all the same journey. Your journey as a martial artist, in my mind, has one path, and it's the path you follow. Just because there's a path you could have taken, that's not your path. That's not your route. You went over here, and then you went over there, and then you did this, and then you sat down for a while, and then you ran, and then you, dug a tunnel. It's your path. And you have to follow it. You have to follow it at your own pace. You have to follow it in the direction it takes you. And that's something that I'm starting to understand for myself. Some of what I've been feeling about my own journey lately has been from perceived outside pressure. Because let's face it, I'm kind of I don't want to say I'm an anomaly, but there aren't a lot of people who've been training as long as I have who don't have a school. And when I tell people what I do, they're like, oh, you teach. I'm like, well, not really. And the unspoken question I hear has been, well, why not? But I don't think very many people are asking that. I teach, just differently. I try to share what I've learned about my own journey, my own path with all of you in different ways. And those of you who stick around seem to like it. So I'll keep doing it. Jared says, I find the black belt journey to be even more humbling because you are supposed to still grow with even more effort. And Tommy says, sometimes we go all the way around the world just to cross the street. That is a beautiful quote, my friend. We walked in another instructor yesterday. I think we're down to 3 slots for all 3 sessions. I think we'll close that up soon. So I'm excited. Free training day, November 13th, Woodstock High School, Woodstock, Vermont. There are people flying in. I think we're up to 5 people flying in. So if you're someone who lives, a couple hours away and you're like, I don't know, it's kind of far. I don't want to hear it. What you're really saying, it's not a priority. And that's fine. Own it. Own your words. You don't have to tell me. If someone says, you know what, that's not my scene, that's okay. I'm not going to be offended because I love it and I'm going to do it anyway. I don't care if you don't love it. In my opinion, it's your loss. It's all good. How many people do we have watching here that are going to be there? I know Stacy's going to be there. Tommy's teaching. Jared can't make it. Susanna will be there. We wouldn't have it without Susanna. Slider, I don't know your name. Daniel will get you to fly over one of these days. Last I knew, Jenny was a maybe. Dennis is teaching. Denise, I think, is a maybe. I think that's what I heard. That's everybody, right? I think that was everybody. Some other people in there whose names I don't know. So I'll move on. I'm going to go drink more coffee. This is one of my favorite times of day, just sitting here after the show, kind of reflecting on what we talked about, reflecting on my day, what's coming. I hope you have a good one. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Go get the Flex program. Go download it, read it, try it, do it, be more flexible, and then tell me what you think. And let's make it better together. Okay. Take care, everyone. Oh, Slider is Ryan. Oh, hi, Ryan. Yeah, we've shot some messages. Sarah already found a hotel. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to say one more thing because I'm getting a little more confident in saying this. Whistlekick is a mission. Whistlekick is not a show. It's not this show. It's not the podcast. It's not this mug. It's not the sweatpants that I'm wearing. Can you see? Whistlekick on the sweatpants? We'll probably do another order of those. It's not the uniforms. It's not the books. It's not any of those things. What is it? Whistlekick is a group of martial artists coming together who believe martial arts makes people better. And we are investing our time, some of us our resources, to further the idea that martial arts makes people better, because I want to leave my mark on the world with your help. And this is the way that I think I can make the biggest impact. So those of you who are committed to helping with that, thank you. I appreciate you. Those of you who are supportive, I appreciate you. Thank you. Everybody else who even just gives a nod, some acknowledgement, I appreciate you. Thank you. Take care, everyone. I will see you back here tomorrow because we do this every day. Peace.